Hi again, I'm Bob Burg with another episode of Go Giver Influencers Live. Our episode today is influential results. And I want to look at results because really when it comes right down to it, it all comes right down to it, right? It's the results. And I think about one of my real heroes, John Wooden, the legendary UCLA Bruins basketball coach, whose team actually won over a 12-year period. They won 10 National Collegiate Athletic Association, NCAA national championships. That is absolutely phenomenal in terms of results. But here's the thing about John Wooden. He did not focus. He said this. He never focused on the wins. He focused on doing the correct things in the success process that would create the environment for wins. Isn't that interesting? The man who was at one time, until he was surpassed in total number of wins, the winningest coach in college history, never focused on the win. He focused on all the things it took to make the wins happen. And that might sound familiar to you because we talk about this with the Go Giver, right? That money is an echo of value. You don't focus on the money, which let's say would be the win in terms of an athletic contest, right? You don't focus on the win. You don't focus on the money. You focus on doing the right things, which the Go Giver way means constantly and consistently providing value to others. When you do this and your focus is in the right place, the wins are going to come or the money is going to happen. Money is an echo of value. So with that in mind, let's talk about results. And again, I'm going to kind of do my thing where I go back and forth and look to see if there are any comments and questions. We do see Karina from España. She is here. Bienvenido, Karina. So great to have you with us. And again, of course, if you do have questions or thoughts or comments, put them in the discussion pane, and we will get to hopefully get to them. I'll do my best. And so let's talk about results. But let's talk about this in a sense, because we love hearing, my business partner, Kathy Tagel, and I, we love hearing the results and seeing the many emails we get. Certainly John David Mann, my awesome co-author, he and I just, we beam when we get from letters from people talking about the results they get doing things the Go Giver way. But we also get questions from people such as, well, I've been doing this for a while, but it doesn't seem to be working for me. And so in a little bit, we're going to discuss that because I think it's so very important to really cover. So let's look first at some of what I think are misperceptions about what being a Go Giver is. Okay. And I wrote a few of them down just so I didn't forget. People often think, and again, I think this is usually people who haven't read the book, but they hear the title, The Go Giver. But sometimes even after people have read the book, because as you know, people interpret things according to their own belief system and what have you. So people say, well, is being a Go Giver about just giving yourself away, right? That you don't care about making a profit. And no, not at all. Remember, none of the mentors in the story took a vow of poverty. They were all very financially successful, as well as successful in the other ways in which success can be measured. So no, it's not about just giving yourself away. It's certainly, you've heard me say this enough, not about being a doormat or a martyr, right, or self-sacrificial. Not at all. No. Is it about just giving away free stuff? Well, so let's talk about that. Because first, no, that's not what it's about. But sometimes giving away free stuff is a good strategic idea. When you, for example, John and I give away 2 chapters of any of our books. Why? Well, because our feeling is that if people read the first 2 chapters, those who are more likely to enjoy the story, they're going to like those 2 chapters and want to get the book. Or when you come to our website, either at burg.com or thegogiver.com, each one has a special report geared toward that audience. You yourself, you may have an attractor at your website, which is a free special report. It may be an audio, it may be a video, it may be a free consult, or it may be a what do you call them? When people fill in the not surveys. I can't think of what it is. Sally Hogshead has one of the best ones I've ever seen. Assessment. Thank you. An assessment. So all these things are what? To attract people to want to get to know you, like you, trust you, to engage with them and to get them involved. So is giving away stuff a good idea? Yeah, when used the right way, it absolutely is. But that's not being a go-giver, and it's not being a go-giver. It's just not what the go-giver is about. It's just a good strategy. People ask, well, is being a go-giver about charity? No, it's not. Now, we hold charity as a very high value. We hope you do too. But no, that's not what being being charitable is. Being charitable is wonderful, but it's not what being a go-giver is. Then there's one more, and that is, well, and this is really a misperception that I want to kind of go through for the next few minutes. And that is, well, doesn't being a go-giver, doesn't doing business the go-giver way take longer to get successful? And it's a good question. And so let's discuss it. First, what does it mean to do business the go-giver way? Well, it simply means, or one who conducts their business as a go-giver simply understands, whether intuitively or through or they've learned it, that shifting your focus from getting to giving. When we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing value to others, and that doing so is not only a pleasant way of doing business, it's the most financially profitable way of doing business as well. That's what being a go-giver is. So why should that translate into taking longer than doing business the regular way? And here's why. And again, intuitively, it kind of makes sense, until you really get to know what this is really about. Well, Bob, I can see this thing about, the go-giver, focusing on others, focusing on your prospective customers or clients, focusing on the marketplace, doing that. Yeah, that instead of yourself, instead of the money. I can see doing that after I have enough money. Okay, then I can see being a go-giver, focusing on others. But I need to make money immediately. I need money right now. So let's work within that premise as it's been given to us, that doing business the opposite way, focusing on yourself and focusing on on the money, is actually going to get you results quicker than focusing on the other person. So what I've done in this case is I've taken people through an exercise, and I said, okay, so let's make believe you are the salesperson, and you have a prospective customer in front of you, and you are about to present your product or service to them. Okay. Now you really need the money. Okay. You really need this sale to happen. And so you go in desperation. Okay. You go in with that attitude. You kind of go in really looking for the money as opposed to bringing value to that person. Now, it's not that you don't want to bring value to that person, but again, if your focus is on yourself and your focus is on the money, that's where your focus is. So, you ask some questions because that's part of the presentation process, but you're not really listening to what they really need, okay? Because you're too focused on what you need. And when they ask a question or they have an objection, you're kind of impatient or maybe even a little defensive because, hey, these questions, these objections are standing in the way of your money, right? They can tell kind of throughout the presentation that your main goal is a transfer of wealth from their bank account to yours. And it comes across that way. I've heard people call it commission breath. Now, so that I would ask this person, do you think this prospective customer or client, are they more likely or are they less likely to buy from you right now? And, if they're going to be honest about it, and they're going to say, well, probably less likely. I've never really had anybody say no, and so yeah, less likely, of course. So now let's do it the go-giver way. But here's the thing. You're still the same salesperson. and you still have the same financial issues. You still really need this sale to take place. And what I'm not going to do is suggest that you forego or deny your self-interest. Don't deny your self-interest. What I'm going to suggest you do is willingly put that temporarily to the side. Okay. And I want you to focus on this person. I want you to focus on your prospective customer. And now what you do is you ask questions, but now you're listening. You're not listening in order to speak and get your 2 cents in. You're listening in order to really understand. You're listening with your eyes, with your posture. You're listening with the back of your neck. When they have questions or objections, you're patient and you're loving about it, and you frame it in such a way that you make sure the two of you both understand what the true objection really is, and that what they're asking about is really the issue, as opposed to just the manifestation of an issue, which is often what an objection is. You ask your discovery questions in such a way that you really discover what they need, want, and desire. And you confirm that what they've said is what you've heard. And only then do you now connect the benefits of your product or service with what they've said they need from you. Okay. Now I would ask the question, is this person more likely or less likely to buy from you? And the answer is always more likely. Because see, there's something that we all know. Okay. And you've heard me say this before, so this is certainly not a surprise. And that is that nobody's going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet. They're not going to buy from you because you need the money. And they're not even going to buy from you because you're a really nice person. They're going to buy from you only because they believe they'll be better off by doing so than by not doing so. And that's the only reason why they should buy. And this is why focusing on the other person, which is the go-giver way, actually brings you results faster than doing it the traditional way, where you're seeing that prospective customer as the one you are supposed to conquer. I hate when I hear salespeople saying, "I only eat what I kill." So what if you kill them, you are going to get your commission? No, how about if you serve them, you are going to get your commission and you'll have earned it. But so that's really, what it comes down to. So, is being a go-giver, does that mean you're going to make money instantaneously? Well, I mean, does business tend to happen instantaneously ever? Now, don't get me wrong. You may be in the type of business where you could get on the phone and make 100 calls in a day, and you pretty much know there are going to be a certain number of people who are going to buy from you. If that's the kind of sales you're in, you may be, and that's fine. Or even the kind of sales where you go on certain appointments that you're sent on, and they are one call closes. That's okay if that's what it is, and that's fine. But even then, even when you make all those calls, or when you see that person, if you temporarily suspend your self-interest, put your focus on them and do it the go-giver way, the chances of you having that sale happen are a lot better than if you do it with a focus on yourself and to focus on the money. So I'll always tell you that being a go-giver, selling the go-giver way tends to be faster than doing it the other way, even though, again, intuitively, it might not seem like that's the case. So let me go back to the discussion panel. Is that what I'm calling it again? Yeah, I think discussion panel. I see Maria Chin, who says, and with sincerity, always with sincerity, Maria. And that's where the authenticity comes in. Remember, as we talk about focusing on this other person, and anything we're talking about here is always with the premise that we genuinely care about, that person. And by the way, regardless of how much you need the sale, if this isn't the right product or service for them, you're not going to sell it to them, right? Because it wouldn't be right. So it's always, we're doing this with the assumption that this is something that would serve them. And that, so great point, Maria. Georgia, thank you for the thumbs up. Karen Doherty, hello to you too. And there's Sonny Martin. Hello, Sonny. And Diane Castro is with us again. Always love when she's with us. And there's Gil Sugar. Hello, Gil. And there's Brother Al. Thank you for that tweet on Twitter promoting the event. There's my sweetie Edie Galley. Hello, Edie. And there's Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Aloha to you as well. And so let's continue on. So what about when someone says, well, I've been using the Go Giver for a while now, and I'm just not getting results. Are you sure this works? Yeah, we're pretty sure it works. Now, not because John David Mann and I invented this or anything. I mean, we've often said none of these laws are original, right? I mean, none of these principles are original. They've been around for as long as there's been market economies, and these are the things that there's nothing experimental about this. If someone utilizes all 5 of these laws, they have to work. They do work. That's what makes it work. So what if someone's not? What if someone's not getting the results? Well, the times when I'm able to do diagnostics with people, it's generally pretty easy to find out why it's not working for them. Okay, and that's fortunate. I'm glad it is that way. About 95% of the time, it comes down to not applying one or more of the laws in a correct way. And much of the time, I was going to say most, but I'd say much, maybe most, it has to do with the law of value, the first one. Someone will say, well, Bob, but I'm giving value. I'm giving value. And I think a lot of times, and I'll ask them, well, how are you giving value? In what way are you giving value? And I'll also say, in what way are you giving value in a way that this other person sees it as being value? And there'll generally be 2 answers. One person will say, well, I'm giving value in that I just do good things all the time. I help walk old ladies across the street. That's not really what they say, but that's kind of what they're saying. In other words, it's that karma thing, and that, well, the law of value must be just do great things and magically good things will happen. And again, that's magical thinking. No. Now, should you help an old lady across the street? If she wants to go across the street, yes. And if she needs help, otherwise I wouldn't. But yeah, generally that's a good rule to help someone whenever they need it. But that's not what being a go-giver is about. That's just being a good person. So definitely do that, but don't expect you're going to get business from it. That's not why you do it. No. Here's what it really comes down to. They're probably not giving value to others in a way that is of value to those others. In other words, you've heard me talk about the difference between price and value. Price is a dollar figure, dollar amount. Value is the relative worth or desirability of something to the end user or beholder. Value is always in the eyes of the beholder. It's what they find to be of value. So I'll say, what are you doing that's bringing value to these other people? And what they're telling me they're doing really isn't something that I would even see of value. But even if it's something that could be, I would always, I would ask, well, is the other person seeing it of value? Do they see it as being of value? Well, probably not. Otherwise, there'd be more of a connection with that person. And so, they might ask, well, how do you know? Well, there's a couple ways. One is if you can, it's not always appropriate, but most of the time you can ask. But if not, you can kind of gauge the feedback. Okay. When you are saying or doing something or what have you, are you getting feedback from that person, thanking you for the great idea or for that connection or for, whatever it is you had to do, or are people ignoring you in droves? And so, if that's the case, it's bringing value in a way that you see it as being of value, not them. Marshall Goldsmith wrote this wonderful book, one of my favorite books, called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. A great book. He's one of the most amazing C-suite executive coaches in the world. And there's one thing with which I disagree with Marshall, and it's only semantically. And far be it for me to disagree with Marshall. He has more wisdom in his little finger than I have in my entire body. Believe me, this guy is amazing. But it's just, I think, semantically. He says that there are people who try to give value or communicate value to people where people don't appreciate it. He calls it giving too much value. And I disagree with that term. To me, you can't give too much value. That would be like having too much money. You can't. No, you can't give too much value. But what you can do is you can give non-value or negative value. In other words, if it's not of value to this person, you're not giving value. You're not giving too much value. You're just not giving value. They have to be the one to see it. And I'm harping on this a little bit, but really this could be an entire episode in itself, how to give value to someone in a way before the sale, before you even had the opportunity to present to this person. So there are many ways to provide value to people as you're building the relationship. And then once the relationships really took hold, you're going to always be, aside from the intrinsic value of your product or service, there's the elements of value, excellence, consistency, attention, empathy, and appreciation. Sure. But the big thing is that when you think it's not working for you, go back first and ask yourself, how am I communicating value to others? Is it in a way that they see it as being of value? Then you go to compensation. And what's compensation about? Well, compensation is about touching a lot of people's lives, impacting people's lives. So sometimes people will start to do, they start to bring value to people, and then they sit back and wait for the business to roll in. Again, there's nothing magic about the go-giver principles, okay? And business isn't like that. You've got to touch the lives of a lot of people. In order to serve a lot of people, you've got to reach out and contact and build relationships with a lot more people. So, ask yourself that question. Then, the law of influence about placing other people's interests first. Are you really placing their interests first, or are you kind of including them in placing your interests first? It's sort of like the person who, the old joke, enough about me, let's talk about you. What do you think of me? Right? It's really, you're not really focusing on them. You're focusing on yourself. Again, I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying these are the things we can do to self-identify where we might be missing. And then, there's authenticity. And, so again, are you truly authentic in the way you're doing this? And then there's receptivity. Are you sabotaging yourself from receiving? So again, look at ways in which you may not be quite hitting the laws, the 5 laws that will cause them to work and have the results you want. Let's take another look back before we go on to our final point of the day. Hey, there's Wes Linden, great leader from the UK, and speaking of great leaders, Nancy Matthews, her event is coming up soon. Her what does she call it? Her unconference, I think. Nancy, why don't you post your the URL where people can get more information for your awesome unconference in Orlando coming up. There's Mindy McFadden. Hi, Mindy. Hey, great to see you. And there's Aliska. Hello, Aliska. And I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody else. So, by the way, and before we even get onto that final point, there's there's one, I talk about the key element, the key factor in human nature that go-givers tap into. And that, again, is understanding that people are going to make their ultimate decisions based on whether it's likely, in their opinion, to bring them happiness. We talked about that on one of the episodes recently, so I won't delve into that. But again, it's just understanding that whether or not they buy from you always comes down to, do they believe it's going to bring them closer to happiness based on how they understand happiness and within the limited choices they believe they have. And so that's a truth that a person who is doing business the go-giver way and someone who's very successful, they tap into. They understand human nature is what it is, and they work within that. They don't deny it. They work within it in order to help that person attain happiness as they see it. So one more thing I wanted to discuss, and this is what I call the thing about the law of left field. Now, many of you are familiar with the law of left field. John David Mann and I discussed this in Go Givers Sell More. The law of left field simply says that the greatest gifts will come to you at moments and from places you least expect. But what does that mean, and how does it really work? Well, when living our lives and conducting business according to these principles, all sorts of value showers down upon us from that unnoticed, unseen place. Examples: you receive a phone call from someone who says they were referred to you, and the person said, "Oh, you've got to call them, and they're the one to do business with," and blah blah blah, and so forth. And very happy about it. And you ask them who referred you, and when they tell you, you don't even recognize the name. It's not that you forgot; you don't even know them personally. They must have heard about you from someone else who heard about you from what have you. Okay, that's great. Where did that one come from? Right? Or you make a crucial last minute connection with someone when at an event you weren't even going to go to. And it turns out this person ends up being a very lucrative new client. A golden opportunity just drops suddenly right into your lap. Or some incalculably valuable thing came your way, but not from the people or places you expected or even hoped, right? So in other words, you said to yourself, wow, that one came right out of left field. So here's the thing. First, when living with a giving spirit, again, meaning focused on creating value for others, great value comes to you at moments and from others, and comes to you in ways much more than what anyone owes you. Okay. But here's the thing, and this is here's for the first thing about the law of left field. The first thing, because there's two. The first thing is there's nothing mystical or magical about this. Okay. The fact is, by now you have brought so much value to the lives of so many people. People feel so good about you. They know you, they like you, they trust you, they want to see you succeed, they want to help you find new business, that the world has now become what we call a benevolent context for your success. And while you can't see its operation, there is indeed cause and effect. The cause is giving, the effect is receiving. But here's the second thing about left field. You can't expect left field to happen. Really, you can't be attached to left field happening, because by the very nature of the thing, it seems to come out of nowhere. Now, it really doesn't come out of nowhere. It really comes out of everywhere. Okay, it comes from the pull of your influence, which you have earned and you've cultivated. But it's a surprise. That's what I say. It seems to come out of nowhere. It's a surprise. So by the very nature, you can't expect it, or you're going to be disappointed. And I've had people who, again, have begun utilizing the Go-Giver methodology, and they said, well, when can I expect left field to start happening? And I've explained, well, you really can't expect left field to start happening. Left field happens when it happens. Okay, by its very nature. What you want to do, and this goes back again to, are you bringing value correctly to others? Are you talking and meeting enough people? Are you engaging with enough people? Are you doing the things? Are you following the laws as you need to follow them? As you do that, your business is very quickly going to start to take hold, and so forth. And then you'll start having left field happening. Now, when I say don't be attached, or that you can't expect left field, I don't mean that in the same way as when people often say that the Go-Giver is about giving without expectation. I actually don't see it that way. Now, I know what they mean, I think I know what they mean. They mean give without attachment to the results. And that's different. That I totally agree with. Give without attachment to the results. But I always expect good things to happen. I want you to expect good things to happen. And when we're conducting business the Go-Giver way, good things are going to happen, but we can't be attached to it happening. That's when we get into trouble. But by all means, expect. But I do know, again, it's semantics, and I understand that. But yes, as far as left field goes, the thing about left field is there's nothing magical about it. It makes perfect sense, and you can't be expecting left field to happen, because then you will be disappointed. Let's go back again and see who has joined us before we end. Lisa Wells, I see you. It's great to see you, Lisa. Tim Gillette joined. Hi, Tim. Todd Moore, great guy. And I think that is, I don't think I'm missing someone. Marilyn Column, and if I didn't mention you before, welcome. And I apologize if I have missed anyone else. Let's see, if you have not picked up yet the Go-Giver Influencer, John David Mann's and my newest parable in the Go-Giver series, make sure to pick that one up, as well as the Go-Giver. I'm hoping you've read both of them by this time. Visit the site at thegogiver.com. You can subscribe to the Go-Giver podcast. By the way, while you're there, check out Kathy Tajanel's and my next the next Go-Giver Entrepreneurs Academy that we're now opening, and that will be in January. So you want to start off the year with a bang. And I don't mean the New Year's Eve bang, but well, you can do that too, but just make sure you're not drinking if you're driving that night and partying. And but yeah, join us. We limit it to 10, so very intense, very in-depth with people, and breakthroughs occur there. Go-Giver entrepreneursacademy.com, and I know Shannon, as usual, doing the amazing job she does is posting those. If you'd like to be a professional speaker and would like to look into joining our team of Go-Giver certified speakers, go to gogiverspeaker.com. Hey, make sure to join and tell your friends about our group on Facebook, Go-Giver Influencers. Every morning, Shannon posts a graphic with a quote from one of the books on the series. There's great discussion there and so many fantastic people. I think we're up over 4,000 people. So make sure to join us if you haven't yet. Hey, next Thursday, I will be traveling out of town to a speaking engagement. So no show next Thursday, but we will be back with a great interview the following Thursday, and I hope to see you then. Meantime, my name is Bob Burg, and I am so glad that you could join us. Make it a great day, a great week, and then another week. See you soon. Bye-bye.